The sound is wrong for a wedding. It is not the clink of a champagne glass, not the burst of laughter or the swell of music. It is sharp, flat, and violent. A slap. Conversation dies mid-sentence. Forks stop halfway to mouths. Someone gasps, someone else drops a spoon. The band falters into silence. For a heartbeat, the reception hall is frozen in a single stunned breath. At the center of it all stands a bride in white. Her name is Nia Okafor. Her brown skin glows against the ivory of her dress. Her hair is styled in soft coils beneath a jeweled headpiece, veil falling like a whisper down her back. Just minutes ago, she was dancing, laughing, glowing with the kind of joy people spend their lives chasing. Now, her left cheek burns crimson. Opposite her stands her brand new husband, Ethan Cole, hands still hovering in the air as if it belongs to a stranger. They have been married for 43 minutes. In the 44th, the world shatters. The echo of the slap hangs in the air like a curse. Nia doesn't fall. She doesn't even step back. Her body goes still, spine straightening slowly. Her fingers tighten around the bouquet until petals bend. Her eyes, usually soft and warm, go unfathomably calm. Inside, something rips. Outside, she looks like stone. Across the head table, her best friend Zuri lurches to her feet, eyes blazing. Nia's father, Mr. Okafor, surges forward with a roar, but two of her cousins grab his arms, holding him back before he makes it across the polished floor. Ethan's mother, Lauren, slaps a hand over her mouth. The wedding planner is frozen beside a tower of untouched cake. No one knows what to do with a nightmare that starts in the middle of a dream. Nia's veil trembles. Ethan's hand trembles more. He looks down at his open palm, stunned, as if he's just discovered a weapon he didn't know he owned. A champagne flute slips from his other hand, shattering on the floor, and the room comes alive in one messy wave, shouts, scraping chairs, clumsy attempts to fix something that cannot be undone. Nia raises her hand. Not to block another hit. Not to strike back. To command. Don't. Her voice is quiet, but it slices through the chaos like a blade. Everyone stops. Everyone listens. Everyone watches her. She has always had that effect. The kind of presence that makes rooms shift and conversations hush, not out of fear, but out of deep, instinctive respect. She slowly turns her face back to Ethan, offering him the full view of what he's done, the red mark blooming on her cheek, the tears she refuses to let fall. "What," she asks softly, "did you just do?" He stares at her like a man waking from a blackout. Nia, I don't know. I don't," his voice fractures. "I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened." Behind Nia, Zuri takes one step closer, ready to intervene, ready to burn the whole place down if she has to. Nia's father is breathing like a bull restrained. Ethan's father, Richard, stares at his son in open disbelief. Ethan reaches toward her, desperate. She flinches. "Don't touch me," she says. The words aren't loud. But they are final. "Stop right there." A groom just slapped his black bride in front of everyone, on their wedding day. In the next few minutes, you're going to find out what led to that moment, and what happened next may break your heart, or change how you see love, forgiveness, and second chances forever. Before we go deeper into this story on love between worlds, pause for a moment. Hit subscribe so you don't miss more real, raw, cinematic love stories like this. Drop a comment, where are you watching from? And tell us, if you were Nia or her friend Zuri, what would you do at this moment? Alright. Let's go back to the hall, back to the moment everything changed. Back in the reception hall, time crawls. Nia's cheek throbs in time with her heartbeat. The music has stopped entirely now. The DJ is frozen with one hand on his headphones, eyes wide. Some of the guests look away, staring hard at tablecloths and cutlery, as if pretending not to see will make it less real. Others stare openly. No one will ever forget this. Nia, please, Ethan stammers. I swear, I didn't mean, I don't even know why I. From the front row, Lauren's voice cracks like a judgment. Ethan Cole. What have you done? Her tone is not a question. It's a verdict. Zuri steps forward, shoes clicking with lethal control. She places herself half a step in front of Nia, chin lifted. There's nothing to explain, she says sharply, eyes locked on Ethan. We all saw it. We all heard it. But Nia, even in shock, is built from something more complicated than anger. She looks at Ethan as if searching for the man she thought she married, the man who made her jollof when her father was in the hospital, the man who danced with her mother in the kitchen, the man who wrote vows so tender she cried rehearsing them in the mirror. He looks back at her like a man staring at the ruins of his own life. You have 1 minute, Nia says quietly. And it better be the truth. The room holds its breath. Ethan swallows. Words stumble out of him. There's no excuse, he says hoarsely. There really isn't. I'll hate myself for this for the rest of my life if I have to. Something is wrong with me, Nia. The headaches, they've been getting worse. I keep feeling like I'm not in my own body. Like I'm about to snap, and I don't know why. It's like someone else grabbed my arm. Nia's eyes narrow, skepticism and fear warring behind them. He has mentioned headaches. He brushed them off, joked that wedding planning was frying his brain. He snapped at small things lately, then apologized with flowers. She noticed, but she filed it away under stress and exhaustion. And that, she says coldly, makes this okay? No, his voice breaks. Nothing makes this okay. If I could cut my own hand off right now and give it to you as an apology, I would. I don't deserve you. But I swear to you, Nia, that person who hit you, that's not who I am. Something is wrong. I need help. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm begging you, don't decide our whole future based on the worst minute of my life. Around them, guests trade glances. Some are unmoved. A slap is a slap. Others, especially the older ones, shift uncomfortably, hearing echoes of things they've seen and never spoken about. Trauma has long shadows. Nia stands absolutely still. She thinks of late-night video calls. Of shared playlists. Of the way Ethan always made sure her little cousins had plates before he did. Of quiet, ordinary kindnesses that don't fit beside the handprint on her face. She thinks of her father, straining against her cousins, shouting in Igbo that he'll never let this stand. She thinks of her mother, Adiz, sitting at their dining table months ago, smiling through tears as she said, "You've chosen a good man, my daughter. A man who respects you. That's all a mother can ask. A good man. A good man who just hit her in front of everyone." She tastes metal in her mouth. You need a doctor, Nia says finally, And I need time. She lifts her veil off her face with careful hands, like she's removing the last piece of the fairy tale. Then she reaches up, takes off her wedding ring, a band that has been on her finger less than an hour, and places it gently on the table between them. The collective gasp is louder than the slap. "Nia," Ethan whispers. She walks away. The guests part like a sea, eyes tracking her as she moves toward the exit, dress trailing behind her like a river of broken promises. Zuri falls into step beside her, fury simmering behind her tears. At the door, Nia pauses, hand on the cool metal handle. She doesn't look back. The click of the door closing is small. But in Ethan's chest, it sounds like the end of the world. That night, the videos start. Someone posts a blurred clip, the bride, the groom, the slap, the stunned silence. Comments bloom like weeds. Hashtags appear. Strangers have opinions about a life they do not live. Nia doesn't watch any of them. She is back at her parents' house, still in her wedding slip, the heavy dress hanging in a garment bag in the corner like a ghost. Her cheek has faded from angry red to deep, mottled bruising. Her phone vibrates non-stop on the nightstand. Friends, cousins, co-workers, Ethan's mother, the wedding planner, even the DJ. She turns it face down. Her mother sits beside her on the bed, smoothing the sheet like she did when Nia was a child waking from nightmares. "You don't have to decide anything tonight," Adiz says softly. "You don't even have to talk. Just breathe." Nia stares at the faint indentation on her ring finger. "Was he always this person and I didn't see it?" she asks hoarsely. "Or is he a good man who did a terrible thing?" Adiz sighs, grief in the lines around her eyes. "Sometimes the worst parts of people stay hidden until life presses too hard," she says. "Sometimes pain hides inside them and spills out in the ugliest ways. Today, you don't need to be judge or jury. Today, you just need to be safe." Nia nods, but the question doesn't leave. Across the city, under the harsh lights of an emergency ward, Ethan sits on an exam table, head pounding. The shame is a physical thing, heavy on his chest. Every time he blinks, he sees Nia's face when his hand connects with her cheek. The way her body went rigid. The quiet of her voice when she said, "Don't touch me." He almost didn't come to the hospital. Part of him wanted to crawl into a dark room and never come out. But Lauren insisted. "You've been different for months," she told him, voice shaking as she drove. Angry, snapping for no reason, those headaches. "We're finding out what's going on." Now, a neurologist named Dr. Malik Shah stands in front of him, holding a file like it's a verdict. "We've reviewed your scans," Dr. Shah says, measured, professional. "We found the likely cause of your headaches, and your sudden change in behavior." He turns the screen so Ethan can see. On the glowing image of his own brain, a small, pale mass sits in a place Ethan doesn't understand. "Is that a tumor?" the doctor confirms. "It looks benign. But its location matters. It's pressing on regions that help regulate impulse control and emotions. That pressure can cause mood swings, irritability, even episodes of aggression that feel foreign. Like you're not fully in control of yourself." The air leaves Ethan's lungs. He tastes that word like poison, tumor. "So you're saying," he forces out, that thing in my head made me hit my wife?" Dr. Shah's eyes are steady. "I'm saying it may have contributed," he replies carefully. But understanding why something happened doesn't automatically erase responsibility. It just explains behavior that is out of character. You are still accountable for your actions. The difference is, you also need medical treatment. Ethan nods numbly. Somehow, it is both a relief and a deeper kind of horror. He is not a monster. He is sick. He is not excused. He is still the man who raised his hand to the woman he loves. Can it be removed? He asks, voice small. Yes, Dr. Shaw says. It's operable. We'll want to schedule surgery as soon as possible. In the meantime, we'll start you on medication. You shouldn't be alone. These episodes are unpredictable. I'm already alone, Ethan thinks. When he leaves the hospital, the night feels too bright, the city too loud. He sits in his car, forehead pressed to the steering wheel, file on the passenger seat like a weight. He picks up his phone, thumbs hovering. He knows he has no right to ask anything of Nia. No right to her time, her attention, her compassion. But he also knows she deserves the truth. All of it. Not just the worst moment of him. His fingers move. Ethan, Nia, I know I'm the last person you want to hear from. The doctor found something in my brain. A tumor. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I need you to know it wasn't me losing my temper because of you. Surgery is next week. If you never want to see me again, I'll respect that. But please, can I explain it properly, just once? In public. Somewhere safe for you. He stares at the message. Then, with his heart pounding in his throat, he hits send. At Nia's parents' house, the phone buzzes again. This time, Zuri is there to snatch it up. Don't, she warns. Don't even look. He's had enough of your life for one day. Nia hesitates. Grief has hollowed her out, but under it, something fierce still lives. I need to know, she says quietly. I need to hear the whole truth. Not for him, for me. So I know exactly what I'm walking away from. She takes the phone. She reads the message. Then read it again. The words tumor and surgery sit heavy in her chest. Zuri scoffs. He hits you and then suddenly he's sick. Convenient timing. Maybe, Nia says. Maybe not. The war inside her rages. She could delete the text and block his number. Many people would say she should. He crossed a line. There are some lines you don't step back over. But Nia has never been able to walk away without understanding the full picture. It's part of what made her good at her job, what made her a loyal friend, what made her so sure about Ethan, until now. She opens their chat. Nia, public place. Bright. Door near the table. Tomorrow. 2 p.m. Edge Cafe on Westfield Road. You get one chance to explain. After that, I decide. She sets the phone down, hands trembling. Zuri throws her hands up. This is how horror movies start, she mutters. Please tell me you're letting me sit at another table like undercover backup. Nia almost smiles. Almost. You'll be there, she says. If he raises his voice, you throw your drink on him. If he tries anything, you call my father. Zuri nods. Good. I've been itching to throw a drink on him all day. For the first time since the slap, something like a laugh edges up in Nia's chest. It doesn't quite make it out. But it's there. A tiny, fragile sign that her heart is bruised, not dead. The next day, Edge Cafe smells like burnt espresso and fresh pastries. Afternoon light spills through wide windows, painting the tables in rectangles of gold. Students type on laptops. A couple shares a muffin. The world outside spins casually, unaware that one corner table is about to become a courtroom for a marriage that barely began. Nia sits with her back to the wall, facing the door. Her cheek is almost healed now, the mark faint but still visible if you know where to look. She hasn't covered it with makeup. She has no intention of hiding what happened. Zuri is at a table near the window, sunglasses on indoors, pretending to scroll her phone while tracking every movement like a bodyguard. At 2:06 p.m., Ethan walks in. He looks smaller. Not in height, but in certainty. His shoulders are hunched, suit jacket hanging looser than it did yesterday. Dark circles bruise the skin under his eyes. He spots Nia and stops for half a second, as if winded. Then he moves toward her table, clutching a file folder like a lifeline. "Nia," he says quietly. "Sit," she answers. He does. There's a long, heavy pause. He slides the folder across the table. Inside, she finds printouts of brain scans, notes from Dr. Shah, appointment summaries. Words like lesion, frontal lobe, behavioral changes jump out at her. "Is this supposed to make me feel better?" she asks. Her voice is steady, but her fingers curl around the paper. "No," he says. "Nothing can make what I did feel better. I need you to know there was something else in the room that day. Not as an excuse. As a fact." The narrator's voice could be heard here, soft and low. He is learning a hard truth. Explanations are not erasers. Science can map the tumor in his brain, but it cannot erase the memory in her skin. Ethan takes a shaky breath. "I've been seeing changes in myself for months," he admits. "The anger, the headaches, zoning out and feeling like I was watching myself from outside my body. I told myself it was stress. That once the wedding was over, I'd be fine. I was wrong. The doctor says the tumor has been pressing on the part of my brain that tells me to stop before I do something stupid. That's not who I've been my whole life. It's like, there's this stranger inside me." Nia listens, eyes unreadable. "So you're saying it wasn't your fault," she says. It comes out more bitter than she intended. "I'm saying I'm responsible," he replies. "And also that I'm sick. Both can be true. You didn't cause this. You didn't deserve this. And if you walk away forever, I will never blame you. But I needed you to know I'm not just," he falters. "I'm not just a man who decided to hit his wife on your wedding day because she annoyed him." A muscle jumps in Nia's jaw. She remembers his hand connecting with her face. The sound. The disbelief. The shame. She also remembers him bringing soup when she was sick. Laughing with her brothers. Holding her father's hand in the hospital. Listening to her talk about work for hours. Human beings are rarely one thing. That's what makes them so complicated, and so dangerous. "When is the surgery?" she asks. "Tuesday morning," he says. Dr. Shah says it's risky, but routine for him. They think they can remove the whole thing. No promises, but the odds look good. "And what do you want from me?" she says. Ethan looks up, eyes wet. Honestly, he says. To stay alive long enough to spend the rest of my life trying to prove I am not that moment. But I know I've lost the right to ask for forever. So, all I'm asking is this: after the surgery, when I'm awake, can I call you? Just so you know I made it. After that, you can block me if you want. I won't chase you. Nia breathes in slowly. The cafe hums around them. Somewhere, a milk steamer shrieks. Cutlery clinks. Someone laughs at a joke. Life goes on, indifferent. She looks at Ethan. At the man who broke her heart with his hand. At the man who might die on an operating table if she never sees him again. Yes, she says quietly. You can call. Once. No promises beyond that. In the corner, Zuri exhales, tension easing just slightly in her shoulders. Nia stands. We're done here, she says. Ethan nods. Thank you, he whispers. As she walks out, the narrator's voice returns. Some choices feel like betrayal either way. Walk away, and she betrays their history. Stay, and she risks betraying herself. For now, she chooses a thin path between. Distance, with a small door left unlocked. Outside, the sun feels too bright. Nia tilts her face up to it anyway. Her life is not over. Her story is not finished. But the next chapter will hurt before it heals. If you're still watching this far, you're clearly feeling this story. Let us know in the comments. Do you believe someone can come back from a moment like this? And what's the hardest lesson you've ever learned about love? Remember to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear that healing is possible, but not automatic. Morning comes gray and overcast on the day of the surgery. The hospital smells like disinfectant and quiet fear. Families sit hunched over in waiting rooms, clutching coffee cups and each other. Nurses move at a practiced pace, efficient but kind. In a hallway painted a tired shade of blue, Ethan lies on a gurney in a thin hospital gown, a plastic bracelet circling his wrist. Lauren is beside him, her fingers wrapped around his hand like she's afraid he'll disappear if she lets go. Richard sits in a hard plastic chair nearby, staring at the floor. You don't have to come in with me, Ethan says, voice thick. His mother squeezes his hand tighter. I'm your mother, she says. I'm not going anywhere. He tries to smile. He doesn't quite make it. What he doesn't tell her is this: the thing he's most afraid of isn't dying. It's living, and still being that man. Down the hall, in a waiting area that smells like old magazines and fresh anxiety, Nia stands just inside the entrance, clutching her bag. She almost didn't come. She spent the night pacing her room, staring at the ceiling, listening to the ticking of a clock that felt like it was counting down to something irreversible. She told herself, he made his choices. You owe him nothing. But another voice, quieter and more stubborn, whispered, you loved him. You may still. You don't have to marry him to witness his fight for his life. Now she's here. Adiz stands beside her, hand on her daughter's back. You're sure? Her mother asks. No, Nia answers honestly. But I'm here. They walk toward the pre-op area. Lauren sees her first. For a split second, shame passes over the older woman's face, shame for her son, for the mess, for the bruise she saw on Nia's cheek yesterday. Then she stands, crossing the distance between them quickly. Nia, she says, tears already glassing her eyes. You didn't have to. I know, Nia says gently. But I wanted to. Lauren covers her mouth, emotions threatening to spill, then pulls Nia into a tight hug. Whatever happens today, Lauren whispers, thank you. For being here. I know you don't owe us anything. When the hug ends, Ethan is staring at them from the gurney. His eyes are wet. His voice barely carries. You came, he says. Nia moves closer, but not too close. I'm here to see you through the surgery, she says. That's all this means. Don't make it anything else. He nods quickly. Understood, he says. I'll take whatever you're willing to give. The anesthesiologist arrives with gentle instructions. Dr. Shaw appears, calm and focused, explaining again what will happen. They'll open, remove the tumor, monitor for complications. There are risks, there are always risks, but he sounds confident, steady. Any last questions? Dr. Shaw asks. Ethan has 1,000. He asks none of them. Just, he says, voice cracking, make sure my mother and Nia know when I wake up. Or if I don't. Dr. Shaw gives a small nod. We'll take good care of you, he says. As they begin to wheel Ethan away, he reaches out. His hand finds Nia's. Thank you, he whispers. For not letting the worst thing I did be the last thing you see of me. She tightens her fingers around his for a brief, trembling moment. Go fight for your life, Ethan, she says. What I do with mine comes later. Then his hand is gone. The doors swing closed behind him, cutting off the view of the gurney, the machines, the blur of blue scrubs. Silence falls. Time stretches. Waiting room hours are a different kind of torture. Every minute feels like 10. Every door that opens might be the doctor, might be a nurse, might be nothing. Nia sits between Adiz and Lauren, hands clasped so tightly in her lap that her knuckles ache. Her mind is a slideshow, the slap, the hurt, the car rides, the laughter, the food they cooked, the playlist he made for her, the way he held her niece like he'd known her his whole life. Zuri's voice is still in her head. I'd have dragged him by the collar out of that hall. Tumor or no tumor, my hand would have found his cheek too. She almost agrees. And yet here she sits. The narrator's voice floats over the scene. Some people think love is simple. You hurt me, I leave. But anyone who has truly loved knows. The heart doesn't own a straight line. It has circles, loops, and detours. It owns questions that don't have clean answers. After 2 hours, a nurse appears. Family of Ethan Cole, she calls. 3 people stand at once. Nia. Lauren. Richard. The nurse smiles. He's in recovery, she says. The surgery went well. Dr. Shaw will speak with you soon, but for now, you can breathe. Relief hits in waves. Lauren sinks into a chair, sobbing quietly into her hands. Richard exhales so hard it sounds like air leaving a balloon. Adiz murmurs a thank you under her breath. Nia closes her eyes. A part of her she didn't even realize was clenched loosens. Dr. Shaw arrives not long after. We were able to remove the entire mass, he tells them. No complications so far. He'll be groggy for a while, and we'll be monitoring closely over the next few days. But from what we're seeing now, I'm optimistic. Will he be different? Nia asks. In some ways, yes, Dr. Shah says. The pressure on his frontal lobe is gone. Over time, his emotional regulation should return to what it was before the tumor developed. But he will also have to process everything that happened while it was there. Surgery fixes the physical issue. The rest, therapy, accountability, healing in his relationships, that's a different kind of work. Nia nods. Different kinds of work. The kind that doesn't happen in an operating room. When she finally steps into Ethan's hospital room, he looks pale and fragile, bandages wrapped around his head, wires tracing from his arms to monitors that beep slowly. For a moment, guilt surges in her. Not for leaving. Forever trusting that love alone could protect her from harm. She steps closer, stopping at the side of the bed. His eyes flutter open. Nia, he whispers, voice thick with medication. Am I dead? She huffs out a tiny sound that's almost a laugh. Not yet, she says. You're stuck with us a little longer. A slow smile drifts across his face. I knew you'd be in heaven, he murmurs, so I thought. Don't get cute, she says quickly. You just got your brain opened. Save the jokes for when you can sit up. He winces slightly when he tries to nod. The doctor says the tumor is gone, she says. They think you'll be okay. His eyes fill. I'm so sorry, he whispers. For everything. For what I did. For what it cost you. I don't deserve you here. You're right, she says quietly. You don't. He flinches. But I'm here anyway, she adds. Not because you deserve it. Because I choose to watch what you do with this second chance. His fingers twitch toward hers. After a long, heavy breath, she lets her hand rest in his. For now. The narrator's voice returns. This is not forgiveness. Not yet. This is an observation. It is standing at the edge of someone's suffering and saying, I will not save you. But I will see you. And sometimes, that's the first mercy either person ever receives. Days turn into a strange routine. Nia returns to work, but she visits the hospital during lunch breaks and after shifts. She always tells herself she's just going to stay 10 minutes. She stays longer. Sometimes they talk. Sometimes they sit in silence while the TV plays in the background, some forgettable show filling space. Ethan is different. Not just because of the scar. There's a quietness in him that wasn't there before. Not the quiet of distance. The quiet of someone who has had their own fragility laid bare and can no longer pretend otherwise. I remember it, he tells her one afternoon, eyes on the ceiling. That day. It's like watching a movie of myself, but I can't reach the screen. I see my hand. I hear the sound. I feel this rush of heat, like being possessed. Then I'm back in my body and it's too late. She swallows. Do you hate yourself? She asks. Every day, he says. But my therapist says that won't fix anything. So now I'm trying something harder, hating what I did, without turning myself into a permanent monster in my own head. You sound different, she says. I am different, he answers. Or I'm trying to be. Nia finds a therapist of her own, a woman named Dr. Rivera with calm eyes and a voice like steady rain. I feel crazy for even talking to him, Nia admits in their first session. Like I'm betraying every woman who ever walked away and never looked back. Dr. Rivera nods. You're not crazy, she says. You're human. Humans can feel love and anger at the same time. We can hold compassion and boundaries together. You're not obligated to leave. You're not obligated to stay. You're obligated to choose what honors your safety and your truth. Can people like him change? Nia asks. Some can, Dr. Rivera says. Especially when there's a clear medical trigger that has been removed. But change is not a speech. It's a pattern. Your job is not to fix him. Your job is to decide whether his pattern over time is something you can live with. Nia leaves the sessions feeling raw but steadier. She starts journaling. She starts naming what she feels instead of shoving it into a corner. She can write, I miss him, and in the next sentence write, I don't trust him. Both fit on the same page. Both are true. Weeks pass. Ethan is discharged, moving back into his small apartment instead of the house they were meant to share after the wedding. That house sits empty, full of furniture and unopened gifts and echoes. He begins physical therapy and counseling with Dr. Green, a soft-spoken psychologist who specializes in patients recovering from brain injuries. You can't blame everything on the tumor, Dr. Green tells him during one session. You're still you. You still made choices. The tumor made those choices harder to control, but it didn't pick them for you. If you turn it into a scapegoat, you'll never grow. If you turn it into a villain and yourself into a victim, you'll never really take responsibility. So what do I do? Ethan asks, exhausted. You acknowledge both, Dr. Green says. You say, I had a medical condition that made me dangerous, and I hurt someone. Now both must be addressed. I will treat the condition and work so hard on myself that the people I love feel safer, not because I beg, but because I behave differently, consistently, over time. Ethan nods. It sounds simple when the therapist says it. He knows it isn't. Spring is coming. The city thaws. On a mild Saturday, Ethan texts. There's a park near my place. Lots of people. Broad daylight. Would you meet me there? Just to talk. No pressure, no expectations. If the answer is no, I understand. Nia stares at the message for a long time. She's at Zuri's apartment, sitting on the floor surrounded by takeout containers. He's asking to meet in public, Nia says. In the afternoon. That seems careful. It seems manipulative, Zuri snaps. Like, look, I'm being so safe and reasonable now. You're allowed to hate him, Nia says. I might still. And you're allowed to block him, Zuri fires back. Just because he didn't mean to doesn't mean it didn't happen. I know, Nia says. That's the problem. Both things are true. Zuri sighs, some of her fight melting into tired worry. Whatever you choose, she says, I'm on your side. I will never fold my arms and say, I told you so, if you go back and it works. I'll only say it if he hurts you again. Nia huffs out a small laugh. That's fair, she says. Later that evening, she texts back. 30 minutes. Daylight. On the main path. I'm not promising anything beyond a conversation. The park is filled with families, joggers, kids on scooters, old couples walking slowly arm in arm. Ethan waits on a bench, hands stuffed into his jacket pockets, shoulders slightly hunched. When he sees Nia, his breath catches. She looks different. Not in her face, it's the same face he loves, the same eyes, the same mouth. It's in the way she carries herself. There's a new layer of steel under her softness now. A boundary that wasn't there before. "Hi," he says, standing. "Hi," she replies. They walk. At first, they talk about neutral things, work, the weather, their parents. The tumor. The surgery. The scar. Eventually, the conversation shifts. "Some days I wish you'd just divorced me already," Ethan admits. "Signed the papers, blocked my number, told everyone I was a monster so I could live with a simple story. This waiting, this not knowing, it's harder." "I thought men hated uncertainty," she says lightly. "Turns out we're just not used to sitting in it," he says. "This is my consequence. I don't get to be sure of you anymore. I don't get to assume you'll be there. That's strangely good for me." They walk past a playground. A little girl shrieks with delight, chasing a bubble that floats just out of reach. "I still love you," Nia says suddenly. The word surprised even her. Ethan stops walking. "I know," he says softly. "I still love you too. But I know that doesn't automatically mean we're good for each other now." She turns to face him. "I'm not coming back to blind trust," she says. "If I ever come back at all, it won't be to the version of you that existed before the tumor. That man ignored his own pain until it exploded on my face. I won't live with that man again. If there's going to be an us, it has to be a new version. One where you take your mental health seriously. One where I'm allowed to have boundaries, even if they hurt your feelings." He nods, eyes wet. "I want that," he says. "Even if you decide you want it with someone else someday. Whoever is with you deserves your boundaries. And so do you." They start walking again. By the time they reach the end of the path, something fragile and new hangs between them. Not reconciliation. Not yet. Possibility. Love between worlds, family. At this point, what are your thoughts? Could you ever give someone like Ethan another chance after a moment like that? Even with a medical diagnosis? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you're still watching. These stories are not fairy tales, they're blueprints for conversations we need to have. Weeks later, Ethan sends another message. "There's something I want to show you. No pressure. The house. Our house. I've been there a few times to check on it. It feels frozen. Like it's waiting for a story that never started. If you'd rather never step foot in it, I understand. But if you ever want to see it, say the word and I'll meet you there. Or I'll leave the key under the mat and stay away so you can have it to yourself." Nia stares at the text for a long time. That house was supposed to be their fresh start. Now it feels like a museum dedicated to a life that imploded before it began. She could sell it. She could rent it. She could burn it down in her imagination. Instead, she replies. "Tomorrow. 6 p.m. We go together. If I can't breathe inside it, you sell it." No arguing. At 6 p.m. the next day, they stand on the front step. The house is quiet, lights off, blinds drawn. Ethan unlocks the door and steps back, letting Nia enter first. She pauses on the threshold. The living room is exactly as they left it: sofa, TV stand, rug, a few decorative pillows Zuri insisted they buy. The kitchen counters are bare. A couple of mugs sit in the drying rack. There's a half-used bottle of dish soap by the sink. It smells like dust and old hope. They walk through the rooms. In the bedroom, the bed is made, sheets still crisp. A framed photo sits on the nightstand, one from their engagement party, both of them laughing at something out of frame. Nia picks it up. "I hate this," she says quietly. "I hate that I look at this picture and hear the sound of your hand on my face instead of your vows." "I do too," Ethan says. "If I could reach back into time and grab my arm, I would. 100 times. 1,000. She turns to him. "That's the thing, Ethan," she says. "You can't. Neither can I. The only thing we can do is decide what this house holds next, a ghost or a new story." He swallows. "What do you want it to hold?" he asks. She walks back into the hallway, fingers trailing along the wall. "I don't know yet," she says. "But I know this: if I ever live here, it won't be as the girl from that wedding hall. She's gone. If there's a future here, it's going to be as the woman who survived it." They end up in the small backyard, standing under a sky turning shades of purple and gold. "Can we take it one room at a time?" Ethan asks. "In our life, I mean. Not rush to move in, or be husband and wife, or pretend everything's fine. Just small steps. A coffee. A walk. A book we read together. See who we are now before we decide anything permanent." Nia looks at him for a long time. "Trust isn't a light switch," she says. "It's a house we rebuild. If we do this, we both pick up hammers. You go to therapy. I go to therapy. We talk about the hard stuff, not just the cute stuff. And the first time you see yourself slipping, even a little, you tell someone. Me, your therapist, your mother. You don't wait until it explodes again. If you can't do that, there is no us." "I can do that," he says. "Can," she says. "We'll see if you will." She didn't say yes that night. But when they leave, she takes the key. She doesn't give it back. Time, they discover, is both enemy and ally. Months pass. They don't move back in together, not yet. Instead, their lives orbit each other carefully. Coffee on Wednesdays. A walk on Sundays if the week hasn't been too heavy. Text messages that range from practical, "My mom asked how you're doing," to tender, "I heard your song in a cafe today." There are rules. No late-night drop-ins. No pretending everything is fine. No sweeping discomfort under the rug. They share their therapy homework sometimes. Dr. Rivera says I have a tendency to minimize my own pain, Nia tells him one day as they walk. To say, it wasn't that bad, so I can keep the peace. I'm trying to stop doing that. Dr. Green says I'm addicted to self-loathing, Ethan admits. It lets me feel like I'm paying for what I did while also staying stuck. He wants me to focus on actions, not feelings. That scares me more than the surgery did. They laugh more now. Not the carefree laughter of before. The quieter kind, born from shared survival. One evening, Nia joins him at his apartment for the first time since everything happened. They cook together. The movements feel familiar, She chops vegetables, he stirs sauce. They bump into each other in the small kitchen and apologize with little smiles. At the table, she sets her fork down. "I need to tell you something," she says. He braces. "I had dreams for months after the wedding," she says. In them, we're standing in the reception hall. You raise your hand, and I freeze. When I wake up, my cheek hurts, even if no one touched me. I stopped putting on makeup for a while because I couldn't stand to look at myself and not see the bruise. It wasn't just one slap. It replayed in my head every day. His eyes fill. "I'm so sorry," he whispers. "You've said that," she says gently. "And I believe you. But I need you to understand that my healing isn't a straight line. There will be days when I look at you and see the man I loved before anything bad happened. There will be days I look at you and see the man who hit me. Both are real. I need you to be strong enough to stand there on both days without crumbling." He nods slowly. "I'm trying to build that kind of strength," he says. "Not macho strength. The kind that can hold your anger without making it about me." She nods. "That's the only version I'm interested in," she says. Summer arrives again. The world outside their windows hums with heat and second chances. One Saturday, Ethan suggests they drive out to a small lake outside the city. A cabin nearby is available for rent. "No doctors," he says. "No parents. No expectations. Just breathing room. If you're comfortable with that." She hesitates. "And if I'm not?" she says. "Then we don't go," he answers simply. "You never owe me yes." She studies him. The old Ethan would have tried to persuade her, to sell the idea, to talk her into it with charm. This one offers and waits. "We'll go," she says finally. 2 bedrooms. "If there's only one bed, I'm sleeping in the car." He grins. "Fair enough." The cabin is quiet, surrounded by tall trees that sway gently. The lake is a sheet of glass reflecting the sky. Inside, the decor is simple: wooden walls, mismatched mugs, an old couch that has seen better days. It smells like pine and dust and weekends. They spend the first day doing very little. They cook simple meals. They sit on the deck. They watch dragonflies dance over the water. The silence between them is different now, less tense, more companionable. That night, they sit on the steps with mugs of tea. "I used to think love meant never failing," Ethan says suddenly. "Never messing up so badly that you risk losing everything." "And now?" she asks. "Now I think it's about what you do after you fail," he says. "Who you become after you see the worst of yourself." She nods. "I used to think strength meant staying no matter what," she says quietly. "Taking anything, forgiving everything, because love covers all things. Now I think strength sometimes means staying. Sometimes it means leaving. It always means choosing the version of you that doesn't die inside." He looks at her like she's giving a TED talk and a sermon at the same time. "You sound like a prophet," he says. "Just a woman who's tired of bleeding quietly," she replies. They fall silent again, watching fireflies stitch little flecks of light into the dark. At some point, her shoulder brushes his. She doesn't move away. Later, when they finally fall asleep in separate rooms, both of them lie awake for a long time, listening to the sounds of the cabin, the wind in the trees, their own hearts beating. Something has shifted. Back in the city, life resumes. Nia starts spending more time at the house, their house. At first, she goes alone, cleaning counters, opening windows, letting stale air out and fresh air in. Eventually, Ethan joins her. They paint the guest room together. Zuri shows up one afternoon with rollers and a skeptical look. "I still don't forgive him," she announces as she pours paint into a tray. "But I can help paint. Consider this my version of monitoring." Ethan gives a small nod. "Fair enough," he says. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I just hope one day you'll see that I'm not the same man you wanted to knock out at the reception." "Oh, I still want to knock you out sometimes," Zuri says. "But I'm willing to admit you're trying." They all laugh. It feels good. Strange, but good. Months pass. The nightmares come less often. When they do, Ethan wakes with his heart racing, skin damp. Instead of hiding it, he tells Nia. "I had the dream again," he says one morning, sitting at the edge of the bed. She sits beside him. "In it, everything is the same," he says. "The hall, your dress, the music. The sound. I still can't stop my arm. But now, when I look around, you're gone. So are my parents. So is everyone. I'm standing in an empty hall, and all I can hear is the echo." "That's your fear," she says gently. "Not your future. If you ever become a danger again, I will leave. No drama, no second chances. I will protect myself. But as long as you are doing the work, as long as I feel safe, I won't punish you for a past we are already rebuilding from." He nods, tears sliding down his face. "You're kinder than I deserve," he whispers. "I'm kinder to myself now too," she says. "That's why this works." One evening, after a long day of unpacking boxes, they sit on the living room floor surrounded by cardboard and crumpled paper. Ethan pulls a small jewelry box from his pocket. Nia's heart lurches. "We said no grand gestures," she warns. "It's not what you think," he says. He opens the box. Inside is her original engagement ring, the one she took off at the reception and left on the table like a tiny, sparkling funeral. "I've kept this in my drawer since that day," he says. "Not as a trophy. As a reminder of what I almost destroyed. I'm not proposing right now. I'm not asking you to marry me again tonight. I'd like you to wear it however you choose to see it. Not as a symbol of perfection. As a symbol of the fight we chose. The work we're doing. If you say no, I'll put it back and never bring it up again." She lifts the ring. The metal is cool. It feels different in her hand now. Less like a promise made in naive joy, more like a relic that has been through war and survived. "How do you see it?" she asks. "I see it as a covenant to keep trying," he says. "To never take you for granted. To never ignore my own warning signs again. To never give the worst parts of me a free pass, tumor or no tumor." She studies him for a long time. Finally, she holds out her left hand. "Then put it on," she says. "Not as an engagement. As hope." He slides the ring onto her finger. They both exhale. The narrator's voice comes in softly. Sometimes, the most powerful symbols are not the ones exchanged at the altar, but the ones taken off in anger, and later chosen again. Not in forgetfulness, but in full memory. 6 months later, in the garden at the back of the house, the air smells like rain and soil. Nia is kneeling by a patch of earth, planting white lilies, the same flowers that lined the aisle on their wedding day. Her hands are covered in dirt. Her hair is wrapped in a scarf. She's humming under her breath. Ethan steps outside, holding a small box. "You're interrupting my therapy," she says without looking up. "This dirt is cheaper than Dr. Rivera." He smiles. "I'll be quick," he says. When she glances up and sees the box, her eyes narrow. "You better not be trying to outdo the last wedding," she warns. "Because I refuse to walk down any aisle that hasn't paid off yet." "No aisle," he says. "Just us." And the question. He kneels in the dirt in front of her. Her first thought is, he really is ruining those jeans. Her second thought is a lump of emotion lodged in her throat. "Nia Okafor," he says softly, "we've already lived vows most people never reach. We have buried a version of our love and planted a new one. I don't deserve a second wedding. But I want to honor this new story. This healed, imperfect, resilient us. So I'm asking, as the man who hurt you, as the man who has been rebuilding himself, as the man who will never stop doing that work, will you marry me?" Again. This time with eyes fully open. She laughs, teary. "You know," she says, "you really are terrible at proposing. First time you followed it up with a slap. The second time you picked wet dirt and old jeans." He winces. "Fair," he says. "Third time's the charm?" She looks at him. Sees all of it, the surgery scar, the shame, the growth, the tenderness, the work, the humility. The way he no longer treats her love as a guarantee but as a gift he must continually honor. "Yes," she says softly. "Not because I forgot. Because I remember everything and I still choose you." He exhales, closing his eyes for a second, then stands to wrap his arms around her. "Thank you," he whispers into her hair. "Don't thank me," she replies. "Just keep doing the work." Their second wedding is nothing like the first. No banquet hall. No 3-tier cake. No 100+ guests. No viral videos. Just 50 people in a garden behind the house, under a canopy of flowers and string lights. Nia's dress is simple, ivory, no veil. Her hair is out, curls soft and free. Her cheek bears no mark now, but she remembers. Ethan waits at the front, suit pressed but not flashy. He looks both older and softer than he did a year ago. Less like a prince in a fairy tale, more like a man who has read the last page of the story and chosen to rewrite it. Zuri stands beside Nia as maid of honor again, this time less angry, more watchful. She has seen the work. She has seen the changes. She still keeps a close eye. That's what love looks like, too. When Nia walks down the aisle, short, simple, lined with lilies, she doesn't feel like she's walking into a dream. She feels like she's walking into a truth she helped build. Their vows are different. "Last time, I promised you forever like it was a poem," Ethan says when it's his turn. "Beautiful, but vague. Today, I know better. Forever is not about never failing you. It's about never hiding from you when I do. You saw me at my worst, and you didn't let that be the end. I vow to keep doing the work. To take responsibility before I'm asked. To protect your peace, even from my own brokenness." I will never again blame sickness for harm. I will treat my health, mental and physical, as part of how I love you. Nia's eyes shine. When she speaks, her voice is steady. Last time, I believed love meant endurance without question, she says. Today, I know love also means boundaries. I vow to love you with open eyes and a strong spine. To speak when something hurts instead of swallowing it. To protect the woman I am becoming, even as I hold space for the man you are becoming. I will not erase the past to make our story prettier. I will honor it, learn from it, and walk forward with you only as long as we both do the work to stay safe, honest, and whole. They exchange rings. When they kiss, it's gentle. The guests clap, but it's not the thunderous roar of the first wedding. It's softer, deeper. The kind of sound people make when they've watched something be broken, and then rebuilt. Years pass. Not as a montage of perfection, but as a string of ordinary days. They argue about bills, about in-laws, about who forgot to close the cereal box. Sometimes voices rise, sometimes doors close a little too firmly. But now, every conflict is followed by a check-in. I felt scared when you raised your voice, Nia says one night after a tense conversation. I'm sorry, Ethan answers. I was frustrated about work and took it out on my tone. Let me try that again. He takes a breath, starts over. He keeps going to therapy, even when things feel fine. He treats it not as a punishment, but as maintenance. She keeps going to hers, too. They build routines that keep them grounded, walks, check-ins, little rituals like making pancakes on Saturdays and praying together on Sundays. They have children eventually, a daughter who has Ethan's eyes and Nia's stubbornness, a son who laughs like his grandmother. Their home fills with toy-strewn floors and spilled juice and bedtime stories. They don't hide their past from their kids. One day, when their daughter is old enough to ask why there's a faint scar on her father's head and why her mother sometimes touches her left cheek when she's thinking, they tell a gentler version of the story. Daddy got very sick, Nia says. That sickness made him do something very wrong. He hurt me. I was very sad and very angry. But then he got help, from doctors and from God and from people who love him. And we both learned better ways to treat ourselves and each other. Now, one of the ways we show love is by telling the truth, even when it's hard. Their daughter nods slowly. So love isn't perfect, she asks. No, Ethan says softly, pulling her into his lap. But it can make us better if we let it. Every year, on the anniversary of his surgery, they visit the lake cabin. They sit on the deck as the sun sinks low, hands intertwined. I still can't believe you stayed, Ethan says almost every year. I didn't stay in the pain, Nia always replies. I stayed for who we became after it. The narrator's voice threads through the final scenes. In a world that loves easy stories. Villains and heroes, saints and monsters. Their story refuses to be simple. A man raised his hand once and regretted it with every breath after. A woman walked away, then chose, little by little, to walk back. Not into denial, but into a rebuilt life with stronger walls and clearer windows. This is not a story about excusing harm. It is a story about confronting it, treating it, holding it accountable, and choosing, in some rare cases, to believe that people can change. When they are willing to do the brutal, boring, holy work of healing. Love did not save them. Love partnered with honesty, medicine, therapy, and time. That combination saved them. In the fading light, on the deck by the water, Nia leans her head on Ethan's shoulder. "I used to think the slap was the loudest part of our story," she says. "What do you think now?" he asks. She listens to the quiet night around them. "No," she says. "This is louder. Us still being here. Still choosing. Still building." The stars begin to appear. The camera pulls back, lake, cabin, two small figures side by side. The narrator speaks one last time. "Groom slapped his black bride in front of everyone. But what happened next? Didn't just break her heart. I remade it. Not for his sake. For hers. And from that new heart, they built a love that knows exactly what it survived." If you made it to this point, your heart is strong. Tell us in the comments. What lesson did you take from Nia and Ethan's story? Do you think you could ever rebuild after something like this, or would you walk away for good? Remember, every story here on Love Between Worlds is a mirror and a question. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who needs to know that healing is complicated, but possible. Love isn't about perfection. It's about what you do after you've seen the worst.